Okay, you know what? Let's just get this one out the way. Now, this is your boy Deluxe Man, and we are live for my top 10 best matches of 2016. But I am not happy. I am currently frustrated beyond belief at this freaking list. I spent all day trying to get the top 10 matches, wrestling matches, not WWE, not NXT, not TNA, not PWG, not ROH, the entirety of wrestling top 10 matches. Anywhere, everywhere. Man, if you were to have been in the same room with me and seen me almost tear my hair out trying to come up with this top 10 list. Oh, and by the way, I hope you can hear me, because apparently the first video I did, my first top 10 list, the first 4 minutes were cut out. So can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me? Are we good? Yes, everybody can hear me. Awesome. But this list is so frustrating because when you look back on 2016, unless you just watch WWE, I'm talking about no NXT, no New Japan Pro Wrestling, no Lucha Underground, no ROH, no PWG, no Rev Pro Wrestling, no WCPW, none of that. Just WWE, this list will be easy. Dead cheap easy. But when you watch everything else, it is beyond crazy of anybody to come up with a top 10 that's going to make everybody happy. And that's my issue. I want to make a list that is completely objective. Like the quintessential list. Like this is the absolute best top 10 matches of the entire year, and nobody can disagree with it. This is it. This is the creme de la creme of 2016 when it comes to matches. And it's impossible. It is downright impossible to come up with a list that's going to make everybody happy. Someone is going to be upset. Someone is going to be unhappy. They're going to look at your list and go, why is that match on the list? Why isn't this match on the list? It's impossible. So I have just come to the conclusion that my list is what it is. It's very subjective. It's my opinion. It's how I see it. I'm going to do my best to explain why it's on the list, tell you the story behind it, give you my reasoning behind all the matches in their placements, and then just leave it at that. If you disagree, just leave it down below in the comment section or in the live chat. If you agree, awesome. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, please give me your thoughts on what you think are the top 10 best matches of 2016. Wrestling matches, not just in WWE, but overall in general. Put it down below in the comments, and of course, put it in the live chat. And we'll get to what you have to say at the end of the show. As always, like me on YouTube, like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. Fan voting for the end of the year awards is still going on. The links to all the categories are down below in the description. And the results will be this Saturday. Polls close on Friday. Friday, after my last video on Friday, that's it. The polls will close, and you'll get the results on Saturday when I do my end of the year awards. And I think tomorrow is Wrestler of the Year. Now that would be a lot easier. Thank God. But this one, this one's hard. This one, I had to make an honorable mention list because I want to make somebody happy. I mean, it's the best I can do when it comes to these kinds of lists. Not everybody's going to be happy, but we'll have to do with what we got. That's all I got to say. So thank you guys for joining me. Let's get to it. Honorable mentions before we get to the top 10. These are matches that didn't crack my top 10, but definitely deserve to be mentioned because they were awesome. And then I also want to talk about a match that I like to call Deluxe Man's Special Treat match. A match that I think is so insane, so crazy, so out there, but so awesome that it's not really a wrestling match. It's not really worthy of being in a top 10, but it's definitely worth watching. It's like a must-see for all of you, although it won't crack anybody's top 10. That's how I feel about it. Let's talk about the honorable mentions first. Honorable mentions. AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose, TLC 2016. Didn't quack. Hashtag Shucky Ducky Twat Quack Booker T. Didn't crack. There we go. Didn't quite crack my top 10. Came real close to it though. Awesome match. One of AJ Styles' best performances in WWE. Wrestled with a hole in his pants. James Ellsworth going out there, screwing over Dean Ambrose because Dean Ambrose helped him beat AJ Styles 3 times to get inside AJ's head, but then it backfired on Dean Ambrose. So I'm pretty sure he will never do that again. Yeah, just a really awesome match and definitely worth seeing if you haven't seen it. And yeah, best match on TLC by far. Another honorable mention is Sasha Banks versus Charlotte. Falls Count Anywhere. Women's Championship. I felt like this was the best Women's Championship match in WWE this year, period, without question. I will put this up against every single women's match in WWE they had. And this is it. This is the #1 match. They went out there, tore the house down. Sasha Banks with a kendo stick is hot. Seductively hot. And Charlotte doing a corkscrew moonsault. Was that the match she did it on? Or was that the match she did the moonsault off the table? No, the corkscrew moonsault was the second time Sasha beat her. That was the one before Hell in a Cell. Right? Yeah, okay, yeah, it was. The third match was the moonsault off the table, which was still awesome. But those two, man, definitely the second best rivalry, if not the top rivalry in WWE on the main roster. Because when you put on NXT, then it might not even be in the top 5. No, it probably still would be. Regardless, Sasha Banks and Charlotte had a great match. It deserved to be mentioned. Another person that had a good match was our resident England wrestler who is making just waves on the indie circuit, Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay had a match against Marty Scurll on Revolution Pro Wrestling, their pay-per-view. Well, I don't know if it's their pay-per-view, but their event, special event, High Stakes 2016, that I thought was a fantastic work of art. It is an amazing match. The only reason why it's not in my top 10 is because they had the same amazing match like 5, 6 other times in other promotions, because it's kind of hard to just, pick which ones out of those matches was great. But anytime Marty Scurll and Will Ospreay had a one-on-one match, it was just phenomenal. And I can't wait to see what they do in the near future. I was hoping with this UK tournament the WWE is bringing in for 2017 to crown a new United Kingdom champion. I was hoping that Will Ospreay and Marty Scurll would be involved. Seriously, I was kind of hoping they would be involved. Unfortunately, they're under contract with ROH, so they probably more than likely won't be involved. But that would be awesome if we got Marty Scurll and Will Ospreay involved in that tournament, because they clearly deserve to be. They've had great matches this year. Another person that had a great match this year was Kota Ibushi, who had multiple great matches, not just in New Japan Pro Wrestling, but in freaking WWE. And I'm talking about the Cruiserweight Classic. 2 matches I want to mention. His match against Brian Kendrick, the Brian Kendrick, where he took that devastating burning hammer on his head. And I love the heel babyface dynamic. In terms of the best heel versus face match of the entire tournament, that was it. Like, you had a clear bad guy and a clear hero in that match, and it just worked so well. And the whole dynamic of Daniel Bryan supporting Brian Kendrick because of his friendship, and them working together with Shawn Michaels as their teacher, and it was really well done. And then you also have the finals. And let me just say this too. I had a hard time deciding which Kota Ibushi match to put on the top 10. It was either Kota Ibushi versus Cedric Alexander or Kota Ibushi versus TJ Perkins. Both of them were fantastic matches. I would even say they're both dead even on which match was better. I had a hard time deciding, oh my God, this match is better. No, this match is better. No, this match is better. No, this match is better. You guys don't understand this. This is going to drive me crazy. So when it came down to it, I decided the match that should make the list wasn't this match, and it was Kota Ibushi versus TJ Perkins. And the reason why TJ Perkins and Kota Ibushi didn't make the match, like I said, it was a fantastic match. And it isn't because Kota Ibushi lost. I felt like if he was going to lose, the way he lost was the perfect way to lose. It was a straight up knockout brawl. And basically, TJ Perkins lucked out and capitalized on a mistake that Kota Ibushi made. You know, he landed on his leg wrong, and that's how he won. So I like that. You know, it didn't necessarily hurt Kota Ibushi. It didn't make TJ Perkins look like a freaking beast. Definitely one of the best matches of the entire tournament. Don't get me wrong. The reason why I didn't make the list is because of two things. Number one, we all knew that he lost because he didn't sign with WWE. It didn't feel organic when he lost. You know, you kind of know that he lost, even though it was realistic. He didn't lose because TJ Perkins was the better man. I don't really think I got that out of the match. I don't know if that was the whole purpose. Yes, it was. It was the purpose of deciding who was the better man. I don't honestly feel like TJ Perkins beat Kota Ibushi in a way where it felt like he was the better wrestler than Kota Ibushi. It kind of felt like he capitalized on a mistake, and quite frankly, the only reason why you won is because he didn't sign. And that aura is stopping me from making it a top 10. Honestly, and that's just me. It might be a top 10 for you. Again, this is just me picking the nitpickiest of nitpickets. And I had to find the smallest reason to get me a freaking top 10, and that's my reason. There you go. So that's why I didn't make the top 10. And the other match I didn't make the top 10, and this one's gonna piss people off, but I don't care because I had to make a top 10. Okada versus Tanahashi from Wrestle Kingdom 10, because I didn't quite feel like it was the best match on Wrestle Kingdom 10. That's why. There were other better matches on Wrestle Kingdom 10 that actually made the list. I'm sorry. I had to pick one match from Wrestle Kingdom because I had to make a top 10. So Okada versus Tanahashi did not make my top 10. It might make your top 10. I understand why I would make your top 10, but it's not going to make my top 10. My top 10 is my own personal favorite. So we can go back and forth between what was the top match of 2016 afterwards, but you have your list. I have my list. So those are the honorable mentions. Let's get to the Lex Man special treat match. When you have the time, do yourself a favor. Search, buy, or just simply stream PWG Battle of Los Angeles Night 2. You can watch the entire tournament if you want, but go to a match, a 6-man tag. Will Ospreay, Ricochet, and Matt Sydal taking on Adam Cole, baby, and the Young Bucks. And I promise you, you will not regret it. The match is so insane. There are a lot of spots in there that's just like, okay, you guys are just going way above realism at this point. But it's so insane. It's so crazy. It's so fun. All 6 men are great performers, and all 6 men are having the time of their lives with this match. And it's just a fun, smart wrestling fan match. I'm not going to say smart, but, you know, it's one of those fans that know that this is all scripted and all planned out. And they work the match as if we know. They work it in a way that's meant for wrestling fans like us. And if you're a smart wrestling fan and you're just, you know, you're sick of the whole, we got to do things by a formula. And you just want something that's just fun. You know, so out there, so crazy, that has flips and kicks that I'm pretty sure the standard blueprint wrestling fans will hate. You know, the ones that prefer the classic wrestling style that they grew up with in the 80s and 90s, which I understand, I'm not going to knock you, but this is not the match for you. This is a match for those wrestling fans who, like me, appreciate different styles of a wrestling match, that just want to see a fun wrestling match. Trust me, go out of your way. PWG BOLA, or Battle of Los Angeles, Night 2. It is the last match on the card. I promise you, you will not regret it. I think Dave Meltzer gave it 5 stars. I don't think it's a 5-star match. I'm just going to say that right now. I don't think it's a 5-star match. I think the match is crazy and wacky and so out there that it's hilarious, and I love it. But no. I'm not going to say it was a top 10 match, but definitely you should watch it. It is a must-see. Go watch it now. So, who's ready for my top 10 list? Good. Let's get to it. Top 10 best matches of 2016. The creme de la creme. Period. Number 10 on my list. Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz. Career versus title. WWE No Mercy 2016. When you look at the story of this match, and you consider The Miz, who is by far the best heel in WWE, without question, and what he's done for that IC Intercontinental Championship, and you see, him getting this heat from just being a douchebag. He has Maurice by his side, a hot Maurice, and makes you jealous every time you see him, adds more heat to him. And then he's making fun of Daniel Bryan every time he wrestles, stealing his style, and that stuff with him and Bryan just gives him even more heat. So you have this legit heel, someone you want to see get his butt kicked, someone you want to root against and love to hate. And then you have Dolph Ziggler, someone who doesn't have the best history with wins and losses. He has more losses than wins. He just can't quite break the glass ceiling. He can't do it. He's gotten and getting so many opportunities to do it, and he just can't capitalize on it. He just can't do it. And so, knowing that story, and this is why I say SmackDown is the better show overall, because of the writing. And one of the best things about wrestling, and I'm telling you this right now, is storytelling. You can have a 5-star match, but if nobody cares about it, if the story is not right and it has no story, it doesn't matter. Nobody will care. It's not going to really connect with anybody. This match had an amazing story. The story of Dolph Ziggler, who was just desperate. He was so desperate to finally make a name for himself, to become the IC champion, to win something. He failed to win the WWE championship from Dean Ambrose. So now it's just like, okay, if I cannot win, for the love of God, if I can't make this work, I don't need to be here. He put his career on the line for one more match against The Miz. When the chips were on the table, could he do it? Could he finally pull out the victory when the odds were against him? The story was there. And then the segments were straight up awesome. The promos were awesome. The stuff with the Spirit Squad, Miz doing a career highlight of Dolph Ziggler. Everything about this match leading up to it was just, oh my God, some of the best stuff in WWE this year. And then you had the match itself. And the match was great. I've never really felt like Ziggler and Miz had a bad match. I've always felt the matches were good to great. This was a great match with a great story behind it. And then the payoff was something I didn't expect. I remember doing the preview of this match, and I said that I didn't know who was going to win. And I'm usually someone that's pretty good at predicting who's going to win. I've done a very good job this year. I predicted Goldberg was going to beat Brock Lesnar. When everybody else said Brock Lesnar was going to beat Goldberg, I said Goldberg was going to beat Brock Lesnar. I said, you know what? I think he's going to beat him. I didn't think he was going to beat him in a minute and 30 seconds. But he beat him. I didn't know who was going to win this match, and I loved it. I was on the edge of my seat watching, and it feels good to watch a match and just be a fan. You don't know who is going to win. You're just watching to see how it ends. Bells and whistles. Spirit Squad comes out. Maurice tries to interfere. Referee throws him out. And Ziggler wins. Ziggler wins the IC championship. Beats The Miz. And then has, to me, one of his best matches of his career. A great match for The Miz and Dolph Ziggler. Definitely top 10. And most importantly, it made the IC championship feel important. This match, this feud, the work of both The Miz and Dolph Ziggler rose the IC championship to a level it hasn't been in a while. The only time I felt the IC championship feel this important, Cody Rhodes in 2011, excuse me. But even then, I say it feels more important than when he held the championship. Yeah. I'm staying with it. This is the most important the IC championship has felt since years. It's been a while. I don't even remember. So that's my number 10 match. Number 9 on my list. is a match that was very controversial at the beginning of this year. Got a lot of social media feedback. Some loved it, some hated it. Some said it was revolutionary. It was game-changing. Some said it was not wrestling, that it was kicks and flips, ballerina, it was too much high spots, and blah, 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 blah. But to me, it is worthy of being in the top 10, not just because of the social media attention it got, but because of the match itself. And let me just say this too. These two performers had two matches. One was in Best of Super Juniors. That's New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then the other one was in PWG. And that was also, by the way, at Battle of Los Angeles, but on night 3. It was Ricochet versus Will Ospreay. And the reason why I am plugging both matches is because I feel like both matches really are just as good. You had this one match in New Japan Pro Wrestling that was, so awesome, that was so controversial that everybody was talking about it. Podcast, Jeremy Ross, Steve Austin, Chris Jericho, me, people in the wrestling business were talking about it. People outside the wrestling business, Vader tweeted about it. Everybody in their mamas, even Jim Cornette, Vince Russo, everybody was talking about this match. And it feels good to have a match that creates buzz in wrestling, because that is what sparks growth. That is what sparks progression in wrestling. And I feel like Will Ospreay and Ricochet are two of the best performers on the indie circuit. Ricochet, and whether he is Prince Puma and Lucha Underground or just Ricochet and New Japan Pro Wrestling or ROH or PWG, by far one of the best high flyers in the world, without question. The stuff he does, he could do a double rotation moonsault off the top rope, including a 360 splash. There's only one other person that I know that can do that. That's Jack Evans. Ricochet is doing awesome, man. He had an awesome year. Then you also have Will Ospreay, who I'm gonna make a big, bold prediction with Will Ospreay. I think that when he learns how to work psychology just a little bit more, I love him. I think he's great. But once he gets the idea or aspect of psychology down to a T, he's gonna be the next AJ Styles. If not the next AJ Styles, he will be the next big name in the indies. The one that everybody pays $100, $500 to see. Because he has it, man. He has that thing we call an it factor. And he's awesome. There's something about Will Ospreay that just draws me towards him. And he is phenomenal inside that ring. Just straight up awesome. Great match, by the way. The matches were great. I didn't like the selling in the New Japan Pro Wrestling match, but they fixed it in their PWG match. The PWG match actually is the same match, but with selling. So I could have put the PWG match on here, but it was kind of hard not to put this match on here regardless because of the social media attention it got. So definitely go out of your way to see it. This is the quintessential cruiserweight match. Like, if I was to say what was the best cruiserweight match, like in terms of high flying stunts that nobody else can do, this would be it. This would be like the best cruiserweight match outside of NXT and WWE and the Cruiserweight Classic. So there you go. Without question. Number 9, Will Ospreay versus Ricochet. By the way, how do you say his name? Is it Ricochet or is it Ricochet? Is it Ricochet or is it Ricochet? I'm still trying to get his name right. I'm hearing people say it's Ricochet. Is Ricochet or is it Ricochet? Not Ricochet, but Ricochet, right? Because people are telling me it's Ricochet. Okay. You know who I'm talking about. If I'm saying his name wrong, I apologize. Ricochet. Okay, here we go. Ricochet. All right, fine. Ricochet. Got it. Maybe next time I'll say Prince Puma. How about that? All right, but that's number 9. Ricochet versus Will Ospreay. Ric Flair O'Shea, calm down. Number 8 comes from ROH. The only ROH match really that's worth talking about. I don't think ROH had that much of a phenomenal year when I think about it. Most of their shows have been all right. They had a couple of good shows, but they are not setting the world on fire, honestly. But this match, I think, definitely deserves attention. Ladder Wars number 6. From ROH All-Star Extravaganza. The Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, taking on the Young Bucks and the Addiction, Christopher Daniels, and Kazarian. And here's what I will say. This match, to me, is a testament to how amazing Christopher Daniels is. If Christopher Daniels was not in this match, I don't think he'd be as good as it is. The performance of Christopher Daniels in this match goes to show you why he is one of the godfathers, or excuse me, like if you were to have a Mount Rushmore of all the top indie performers in the early 2000s, he would be up there. You can't say AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Chris Hero, Kenta, and all these indie wrestlers without mentioning Christopher Daniels. You can't do it. Because he is one of the top indie performers, one of the top wrestlers outside of WWE. To me, I'll say it right now. If I was to have a top 5 list of performers who are the best performers to not wrestle in WWE, he'd be on that list. This man was bleeding. I forgot when it was, but there was a point in the match where his entire face was blood. And I was legitimately worried about him. Because I saw him taking these spots and taking these bumps, and we're just like, oh my God, how is he still alive? He's going to kill himself. And, thank God he's okay. But damn, that was a brutal freaking match. All 6 of them did a good job. And this was the match that I felt the Young Bucks did very well in. Because here's what I say about the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks do very well in matches like ladder matches or like matches with a stipulation. Anytime you have them work a regular tag match, they suck because they can't do it. They don't have the right psychology for a regular tag match. When you give them rules, they're not going to do well. They have to break the rules to be a good tag team because psychology is just not their forte. And this is the kind of match that really didn't need psychology. It just needed those guys to go out there and kill each other for the tag team championships. And they did. Crazy spots. There was a spot where I think, how many tables did they break? All of them went through a table at one point. Every single one of them went through a table. They fell off ladders. Just a great match. Just a great tag match from all 6 men. Young Bucks won their, I think they won. It wasn't their first, but they won the ROH Tag Team Championships. I think it was their first. Was it their first? I don't know. But yeah, guys, this was a great match. Just go out of your way to see it. It's worth talking about. Is it the best tag match this year? No. Oh, no. We'll get to that match in a second. But definitely top 8. All right, number 7 is very controversial. And I'm pretty sure some of you don't agree with this match because you feel like this is over Okada and Tanahashi and Ibushi and TGP. You put this match over Sasha and Charlotte? Yes. Yeah. I will put this match over the people who didn't make the list. This match comes from Lucha Underground. Sexy Star and Mariposa. Aztec Medallion, no mas match. If I was going to pick a match that said, yeah, women can have just as good of a match as the men. We've had tons of them, Sasha Banks and Charlotte got an honorable mention. That's one. There are other ones that happened this year in 2016. I dare say the women at WrestleMania, the triple threat, Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and Sasha Banks was match of the night at WrestleMania. Quite frankly, tons of female women's matches this year that said, yeah, we can have just as good of matches as the men. This was the match that really said, yeah, there's no excuse. These women can have just as good as matches as the men. Sexy Star and Mariposa, not only did they have the story, and I'm very, very high on story. You had Mariposa and Marty the Moth Martinez kidnap Sexy Star and hold her hostage for like 6 months, torturing her, making her feel less than, to the point that it showed in her performance on the roster. She was wrestling timid. And she got to a point where she said, no more. I'm not taking it anymore. I am fighting for myself. And it led to this match with Mariposa. Man, the bloodiest female wrestling match I've ever seen. Oh my God, the drama was there. They did stuff to each other that I can't even believe men would do. Like, for example, there was a spot where Mariposa was laying down. Her back was like up against the wall. Sexy Star grabs a steel chair, places it in between her legs, grabs another steel chair, and then putts, hits the chair into her groin. It was brutal. They climbed up to the freaking Raptors. They had Sexy Star hanging, her mask ripped open, which if you know the story of Sexy Star, that mask represents her strength because she had a dark past, suicidal abuse and all that. And that mask represents her strength. So for Mariposa to rip it open, that's big significance. And you see her bleeding, blood just pouring down her face. You had the interference of Mari the Moth, and then, of course, the Matt coming out to save her. And then the ending, before we got to the ending, we had that moment, the biggest moment of the entire match. You know, we had Sexy Star and the Indian Deathlock. Referee goes up to her, and he goes, "Do you quit?" And then she goes, "Fuck you! Fuck you, Mariposa!" And I'm just like, yes! Yes! That's what I'm talking about, man. That was awesome. She was a badass. She was a badass from that point forward. Loved it. And then she ends up beating her, conquering her demons, gets the Aztec medallion, to which she then uses to get to the Gosh Championship. And then, although she lost to get the Gosh Championship, she would win the World Championship this year at Aztec Warfare 3. So to me, yes, Sexy Star and Mariposa deserve to be in the top 10. If they didn't have this match, maybe Sasha and Charlotte would top it. But hey, that's just my opinion. I think Sexy Star and Mariposa deserve to be in the top 10, without question. So number 7, Sexy Star and Mariposa. Okay, next up is number 6, coming from the Cruiserweight Classic. And I think we can all agree that this was the best match in the entire tournament. I was torn between this one and Ciampa and Gargano, because initially I had that match on the list. But then I saw this match and went, oh no, this is the best match. Kota Ibushi versus Cedric Alexander. Cedric Alexander versus Kota Ibushi. Round 2. Man, this match was phenomenal. This, my friends, is Cruiserweight Classic action. This is what I want to see out of Cruiserweight Wrestling going forward. If I was to write a blueprint of what a Cruiserweight match should be, what I expect out of it, the drama, the story, the high-flying aspects. And this is why I feel this match is better than the best of the Super Juniors or the PWG match between Will Ospreay and Ricochet. There wasn't much story to that match. You really think about just the match as a story, not just the action, because the action was phenomenal. I'm talking about like why these guys are fighting. They're just fighting because they're in a tournament. You know, it wasn't really one of those dramatically feel. You didn't get the sense of the drama. They were in a tournament, yeah, but it was just a match to them. If they lost, okay, who cares? I'm still champion. You're cool. But no, for Cedric Alexander, this was the match of a lifetime. He wasn't signed by WWE. Neither one of them were. They were fighting to get a contract with WWE to prove that they're the best, not just for themselves, not just for the crowd, but for the entire world. This was a tournament of the best cruiserweights in the world. So there was drama behind that. So every single time there was a kick out, and there were a lot of near falls, and I swear to God, there were 2 that I thought Cedric had. Kota Ibushi. The first one was when he hit the brain buster. He hit a brain buster that was nasty on Kota Ibushi. And I thought that was it. I'm like, right on his freaking head. And then he kicked out. And then Cedric jumped up and then super kicked him. Twisting spin kicked him in the head and pinned him right there. And then he kicked out again. And that was the best near fall of the entire tournament. The best one. I cannot believe. I cannot believe he kicked out of that, and I was into it. But it was believable, and you felt sorry for Cedric, and you got to a point that you were rooting for him. And By the way, I've said this many times talking about the Cruiserweight Classic, but the commentary on this show was phenomenal. Bryan and Mauro Ranallo, Daniel Bryan and Mauro Ranallo had the best run as a commentary team in WWE. And if we had an award for best commentary team in 2016, they get it. They would get it. But the commentary, the crowd, the atmosphere, the tournament, the structure, the performers, everything about this was perfect. Everything. Kota Ibushi won, and then right afterwards was one of the most heartfelt moments of the entire tournament. You had Cedric Alexander, you know, almost in tears. The crowd is chanting, "Please sign Cedric. Please sign Cedric." Out walks Triple H. The crowd goes nuts. He hugs Cedric and he says, "Okay, we got this. Okay." And look, I'm not saying they weren't going to sign him. All I'm saying is that was an awesome moment. The match made Cedric a star. It made him someone that we knew was going to be someone big. And although the Cruiserweights aren't doing very well on the main roster now, we all know when we see Cedric, we're watching something special. That man is one of the highlights of the entire Cruiserweight Classic, and this match to me is the best one. Again, you can say TJ Perkins versus Kota Ibushi was the best match. You might even say, I don't know, you might think some other match was the best match. And that's fine. To me, this was the best match. Absolute greatness from both wrestlers, Kota Ibushi and Cedric Alexander. So that was number 6. Number 5 comes from New Japan Pro Wrestling. G1 Climax 26, and this was day 18, I believe. Day 18, Kenny Omega versus Tetsuya Naito. And I gotta say this, man. I'm very happy for Kenny Omega. I've been waiting for him to break the freak through. And I think the best thing that could have happened for him was for AJ Styles to be signed by WWE. Because ever since AJ Styles got signed and he had a chance to take the reins as like the leader of the Bullet Club, he has been amazing. He has been on fire. Great matches this year. He had a ladder match against Michael Elgin that was great. But to me, this was his breakout performance here in this tournament. This tournament showed me that he can be the top guy. I cannot wait to see him fight Okada in Wrestle Kingdom 11. I'm going to be watching that, by the way. Might do a review on it. We'll have to see. But, yeah, this was the match. This match, though, was the match I won. Yeah, he needs to be the next world champion. This was a phenomenal match. There was a time limit. The time limit really made it awesome. Naito was like that. I don't know. He's like Eddie Guerrero in a sense to where he's evil. You know, he's dirty. He finds ways to beat you. He uses his head more than his skills to beat his opponents. And the time limit really made this match awesome because there was a time limit and it was counting down. And then King Omega, just like right before time went out, pins on 1, 2, 3 with the one-winged angel. Love that finisher. And, you know, he goes on to win the tournament. You know, he goes on to win that tournament and then get a shot against Okada at Wrestle Kingdom. But to me, and this is just my opinion, I honestly believe this was the match that said Kenny Omega should be the next world champion for New Japan Pro Wrestling. He is that good, and I'm happy for him. Number 5 definitely goes to Kenny Omega and Tetsuya Naito. Number 4 on the list. Going back to Lucha Underground. Again, I know some of you don't like the fact that Lucha Underground, and yes, I know the one-winged angel is paying homage to Sephiroth. I can't talk today. Jesus Christ. One-winged angel pays homage to Sephiroth from Final Fantasy. Shut up. Getting back to what I was saying. Number 4 on the list comes from Lucha Underground, Aztec Warfare 3. Oh my God. And I'm still thinking about it till this day. To me, this was the match that said Lucha Underground is the premier show in wrestling. I was touting it. I was saying it. I was tweeting it. I was screaming it from the top of my lungs. Ultima Lucha. Wait, what was I about to say? Now Ultima Lucha dos. What? Wake up, the last man. Aztec Warfare dos. Aztec Warfare 2 was the match that really just put Lucha Underground on the map. Everything about this match is awesome. I love how it intertwined every single feud that was going on with the match. You had the debut of Rey Mysterio, El Dragon Aztec Jr. You had the Worldwide Underground, you know, having their little formation. You had Phoenix and his story. You know, he beat Mil Muertes for that championship the week before. And then here comes Climax, who was running the temple at the time, who said that I'm going to put you in that freaking tournament and you're number one. And then whoever wins that match becomes world champion. You know, really stacking the odds against him. You had that element to it. You had Famous B looking for somebody. You had Joey Ryan handcuffing himself to the barricades so nobody would pin him. You had so many things about this match. You had Johnny Mundo and Cage in their rivalry, and then he beat Cage by slamming a cinder block over his head. Oh my God, so many things. Pentagon Jr., that story when he got kicked out the match because he put his hands on Katrina, and you know, she ended up slapping Vampiro when Pentagon Jr. screws over Mil Muertes out of the match. But the biggest thing about this match, on top of all that great stuff, because all of that was great, then we have the debut of Matanza. Dario Cueto returns because he's been gone from the tempo. He comes back in shocking fashion with a key around his neck. And then he introduces his brother, Matanza Cueto. And man, he gets into that ring and annihilates every single wrestler in the match. Pins them all. Beats all of them. Even Rey Mysterio becomes the world champion. I haven't seen a debut of a wrestling character this awesome since Kane. Kane's debut in 1997. Now, I wasn't around when that actually happened because I had to go back and watch it. But this was the equivalent of Kane debuting at Hell in a Cell in 1997. This was a phenomenal debut. This match was the match that I became a Lucha Underground faithful from. I was already like Lucha Underground. I already thought it was a great show because of season 1. But season 2, and this was the match that made me say, see, y'all need to pay more attention to Lucha Underground. And I guarantee you, this is the match that made people go, okay, Lucha Underground is serious. So, there you go. Aztec Warfare 3 was the match that really, if you really think about it, put Lucha Underground on the map and made people pay attention to it. So, there you go. Number 4. Number 3 is a WWE match that, if you really think about it, was the best match on the main roster this year. You already know what it is. Go ahead and say it. Yep, WWE SummerSlam 2016, John Cena versus AJ Styles. A dream match. Just a phenomenal match. No pun intended, because AJ Styles is the phenomenal one. But it's two of the best wrestlers really in the world. You think about it. You know, John Cena is the most popular money maker, breadwinner of wrestling, and AJ Styles is by far the best performer in it. Like, nobody can really say AJ Styles wasn't the best performer in wrestling up to this point. Had an awesome debut at the Royal Rumble. Had some awesome matches with Roman Reigns. There, I'd say Roman Reigns' best matches. And then had this really awesome feud with AJ Styles, with John Cena, not himself. AJ Styles had this awesome feud with John Cena. And I just really think, if you stop and think about it, this whole idea that these indie wrestlers, if they were to come in when John Cena came in 2012, 2002, and 2000, whenever he came in, and they always say the same thing. If I was here when you were here, John Cena, I'd be the face of the company. I honestly think the only person that could say that is AJ Styles. Now, some of you are saying, well, AJ Styles was wrestling for the X Division back in the day. You know what? I'll say it like this. With as good as he was back in the day, how he carried TNA on his back, if he was to come in with John Cena in 2002 and gotten everything that John Cena got, could he have carried the company to new heights? Honestly, yes. Yes, I do believe that. I cannot say that with CM Punk. I cannot say that with Bryan Danielson. I cannot say that with Samoa Joe. Maybe I can say that with Samoa Joe, but Samoa Joe isn't the one coming out saying, if I was here 15 years ago, I'd be the top guy. AJ Styles said it, and I believe it. What makes this match amazing is one thing that we don't see a lot with John Cena is, first off, him having amazing matches. I think this past 2 years have been some of the best in-ring work that John Cena has put on in his career. And I think it's phenomenal. But the story behind, again, no pun intended with phenomenal, but the story behind the match was John Cena, for some particular reason, could not beat AJ Styles. Just couldn't beat him. And he needed to know, well, AJ Styles needed to prove to the world that he was better than John Cena. But John Cena needed to know, I can beat this guy. And he did everything. He threw out attitude adjustments, more than one, even one off the top rope, and he could not put AJ Styles away. And I love the moment in the match where after AJ Styles kicks out the top rope attitude adjustment, and you see John Cena just get dazed and just look like, what happened to me? You know, it's that moment where you look at your hands and go, what happened to me? Like he's staring at a mirror of himself, like he's staring at his own image. He's actually meeting the same fate that he's been given to everybody else that's fought him over the last 10 years. He met someone he could not beat. And then AJ Styles beats him clean. Clean. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. No help. Beat him clean. And it was the highlight of the entire show. More than likely should have main evented, but you know, you can argue Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton, I guess, deserve to close. Although I do feel like even now, even then, I say AJ Styles was John Cena and AJ Styles should have closed the show. But looking back on it now, yeah, they should have. But that's hindsight. Of course, in hindsight, it's easy to say Styles and Cena could have main evented the show. This was the match that said, once and for all, AJ Styles, we are going to put our faith in you. You are going to carry this company. We're going to have you beat John Cena. And John Cena, you know, graciously put him over in a great match because he's an awesome guy like that. And then AJ Styles became a WWE champion, and he's been the best champion of this company since, yeah. When was the last good champion we had? I guess Brock Lesnar. I don't know. I don't even think he was that good because he wasn't around. But, you know, AJ Styles to me has been a great world champion. And I don't want him to lose that belt anytime soon. He's too good. He's way too good at what he does as a heel or a babyface. It doesn't matter. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy for AJ Styles, and I wish him nothing but the best. But thank you for an amazing match with John Cena at number 3. Number 2 is a match that can only be described by one phrase. Fight forever. Fight forever. From NXT Dallas 2016. NXT TakeOver Dallas 2016. The debut of Shinsuke Nakamura in WWE. And he takes on the heart and soul of NXT himself, Sami Zayn. And what was said to be by far one of the best matches in NXT history up to that point. It was an amazing match. Those two had a phenomenal knockdown, drag-out fight. It was so good, man. I'm gushing over it just thinking about it now. I watched it before I even did this video, and it's still good. It's amazing how good this match was. There's two of the best performers in wrestling today. Sami Zayn, just a great babyface. Shinsuke Nakamura, just an all-out badass Japanese performer. This was the perfect match. The perfect match for Shinsuke Nakamura to come in and make a name for himself. And I dare say he hasn't lost any momentum since. Sami Zayn unfortunately did because he went to the main roster. But Shinsuke Nakamura, man, he's still running off of that match. The momentum from that match is still carrying him to this day. To this day. One of the best matches. I think everybody can agree that if you're going to make a top 10 match of the year, this match should be the one you will see on the list of anybody's list. You'll see this on PW I's list. You'll see this on Dave Meltzer's list. You'll see this on, you might see this on people's list here on YouTube. OTR Essential might do a list. Good Mike might do a list. I know Solid Monster's doing a list, and I guarantee you this will be on there. I don't know, even the small YouTubers, I shouldn't say small, but but even other YouTubers like We Are Pro Wrestling and Patrick's Crazy Place and all these people that I watch, Don Tony and Kevin Castle, just so many people that talk about wrestling. When they talk about the top 10 matches of 2016, this match will be on it. If it's not, you got to look at them and go, okay, you better tell me why, because if this is not on your match list, my God, you are missing out. An amazing match. Phenomenal. Number 2, absolutely. I couldn't make it number 1 because the number 1 match on my list is a tag match from NXT TakeOver Toronto. One of the best tag matches, period. I was going to say this year, I'm going to say period. Like when I am old and decrepit in my wheelchair and I'm telling my grandson and granddaughters about wrestling, this is going to be a match I talk about. Classic tag team action done right. And this has been the year for tag team wrestling. For wrestling, period. But this, my friends, is the creme de la creme of them all. The number 1 match of 2016 comes from NXT TakeOver Toronto. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa versus The Revival, Dash and Dawson. 2 out of 3 falls for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Mwah! Phenomenal match. The drama of this match. The near falls were wonderful. Their first match, well, actually, I saw the match when I went to the NXT TakeOver event in Houston. But their first match at Brooklyn was awesome. This was even better. This is one of those matches that I'm actually upset Dave Meltzer didn't give a 5-star to. It's just like, okay, how the hell is this a 5-star match? Because like I said, he gave Will Ospreay, Ricochet, and Matt Sydal versus Adam Cole and the Young Bucks from PWG BOLA. Gave that one a 5-star, but he didn't give this one a 5-star. Like, what? Why? Like, what the fuck? What did they have to do? What else could they have done to make the match better? Literally, what else could they have done? I'm not saying that Meltzer has to make it a 5-star, but I had to wonder, okay, if this is not a 5-star match, what the hell is? How is this a 5-star match and this is not a 5-star match? I don't get it. But regardless, it was a phenomenal match. Oh my God, it was amazing. I feel like Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa are about to have a hell of a year in 2017 because based off of how this match ended, where this is going to go. And it's going to be heartbreaking. I love their story. I love that they came in as a tag team. They were brothers, almost like brothers. Not really brothers, but they have that brotherhood mentality with each other. And you saw that in the Cruiserweight Classic. There was a story of, Tommaso Ciampa holding back and not really going all out on Gargano because it was his friend or his brother, and he couldn't do it. And, it was that drama at the end when Tommaso Ciampa lost to Gargano. And, he hugged him. He almost didn't do it. He was going to walk out, but he came back in the ring and he hugged him. And you got that friendship. You sensed that that heart-to-heart moment, and it made you just love me more. And then this whole tag team run, when they were taking on, that was my phone. I apologize for that. When they were taking on the Revival, their first match, Gargano lost because of a submission, the leg bar, and he blames himself for it. And he was mad. And he said he had something to prove to not just himself or the audience, but to his friend Tommaso Ciampa, that I will not let you down. And going into this match, there was also that backstory of what if they lost? And see, this is the mainest ingredients when it comes to making an amazing wrestling match. The story behind it, the characters, the performers. The match itself can be amazing because the match was amazing. But if you don't have that story behind it, there is no reason to care. You already had it in the back of your head there was something in the back of your head that told you if they did not win this match, they being Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, you knew Tommaso Ciampa would have turned on Gargano. You knew in your head that this was going to be it for this tag team. So there was that drama leading it. It led to all of the kickouts meaning something. It led to all of the moves they hit meaning something. The falls, because it was a 2 out of 3 falls. You know, I love the first fall. The first fall was a counter to Gargano's springboard, not springboard, but slingshot spear. They counted that into the Shatter Machine. That was amazing. By the way, the Revival, I haven't done a top 10 tag team of the year list, but if I did, they'd be number 1. The Revival have had the best tag matches in WWE, period, this year. I dare say they are the best tag team in WWE. Yeah, I think they are. They are the best tag team in WWE. Might be in wrestling. I don't know. We'll have to see. But they're amazing, man. A throwback to old school R. Anderson and Tully Blanchard, the Brainbusters. Man, they are awesome. And they are just magic in the ring with people like American Alpha and Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, and others. So I am happy to say thank you. Thank you guys for giving us a great, amazing match. And the win was so emotional. You know you got me as a wrestling fan. And I'm a smart wrestling fan. Guys, I grew up in the Attitude Era. You hear me? It's hard for a wrestling fan like me to get invested in wrestling now. But when they won, I was happy. I was cheering. I was losing my mind. Hallelujah. It was amazing. I loved it. I loved seeing them win the tag team championships. It meant something. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa are going to be great tag team champions. Might not be long tag team champions, but they might be great tag team champions for sure. But you know eventually, you know where this is going. You know eventually they're going to lose those tag team titles. And when they do, oh man. The feud, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, they're going to take NXT by storm. I am going to be heartbroken when they break up. Because I know it's coming. And it's going to hurt. And you know when they break up, Ciampa is going to turn on Gargano. It is going to be an amazing heel turn. I cannot wait for them to do it. So, match of the year for me is the tag match at NXT Toronto. 2 out of 3 falls for the NXT Championship. Tag Team Championships. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is my top 10 matches of 2016. So before I go, let me go to you. Let me give it to you. What is your favorite your favorite match of 2016? Any company, anywhere, you let me know. Let me get it out here from the live chat. So I'm going to the live chat now. What do you guys think is the best match that you've seen? Living here. Kenny Omega versus Naito. Great match. DIY versus the Revival, of course. Sami Zayn versus Nakamura. Just a lot of great matches. DIY versus the Revival. Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. Just a lot of good things. DIY versus Revival. Revival versus DIY. Kota Ibushi versus Cedric Alexander. So a lot of you are agreeing with my list, which is actually, it makes me feel good. I was kind of hoping you guys would give me a different match, but maybe my top 10 was more accurate than I thought it would be. AJ Styles versus Nakamura. There's a match that I didn't even mention. AJ Styles versus Nakamura at Wrestle Kingdom 10. That was a great match. It really was a great match. Sasha Flair versus Sasha Flair? I'm sorry. I read that wrong. Sasha versus Charlotte Flair. Hashtag Sasha Flair. Yeah, that entire feud was good. Dean versus AJ at TLC. Not mad at you. Sasha versus Charlotte. Sasha versus Charlotte. AJ Styles versus everybody he wrestled this year. So every AJ Styles match is great. Sure. Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar. Calm down. Calm down. Someone's joking there. Okada versus Tanahashi. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Let me go back up. Revival versus DIY. Revival versus DIY. Jericho's list. Calm down. Yeah, Meltzer tends to underrate NXT matches. Yeah, he does. I thought Sami Zayn versus Neville was a 5-star match, but no, 4.5. Screw you, Dave Meltzer. Ziggler versus Miz, cool. Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss tables match. Sure, man. Yeah. Thank you guys for joining me for my top 10 matches of 2016. Tomorrow is the final top 10, and then Saturday is the big end of the year award. So I will see you for the top 10 wrestlers of 2016 tomorrow. Thank you guys for joining me. Once again, subscribe, like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. Vote. Fan voting closes tomorrow. Categories are down below in the description box. And then, guys, with that said, I will catch you next time here in Deluxe Men's World. You guys take it easy. I'm signing out. Peace.